Okay, welcome back to another episode of Run Mountain Peaks. Today's going to be a little bit different of an episode. I just got back from a long weekend up in northern Maine, did a little trip with my friends to Lake Moosehead, and the biggest lake in Maine. And initially, I was going to try to do like a little bit of maybe filming, some podcast stuff there, kind of stitch something fun or cool or different together, but it did not really work out. I think, like, trips in general and this trip, like, there's just so much going on, so busy. It's just, like, kind of it was hard. It's you already got enough stuff doing all the different things, seeing people I haven't seen for a while, so didn't pull there's gonna be no direct content or videos from that trip, but out of inspiration, we're gonna do a full Maine, Northern Maine, Lake Moosehead, trip stories podcast today. So it's gonna be we're gonna do a little bit of running. We have some running topics, but it's gonna be a lot of kind of Maine stories. So growing up, we had a little camp in central Maine. I went to school at the University of Maine, so I met all of these guys. And I spent a good amount of time up at Moosehead on our annual trip there. So I got a lot of stories. It's going to be a deep dive into all things Maine. Shout out Maine. But so we'll do all that stuff. We're gonna mix in a little bit of extreme sports talk because I was kind of thinking back to some of my main memories and some extreme sports got brought up. So we'll talk about that. And then I just got a sleep tracker. So I've been tracking my sleep every night, getting into some of those metrics. So I am gonna do a little bit of training, sleep metrics talk, how that's been going for me. We're gonna bring back the motivational minute. Haven't done a little bit of motivation in a while, so we'll do some motivation stuff, and then we're gonna do my top 3 favorite chips. We're gonna do a chip talk. Well, I think the last ranking we did was a fruit ranking, and I had, yeah, I think that went I think that went fine, but anytime I do a ranking, I'm like, just I question myself, and I have to just whatever I say, it's gonna be the final. So we'll do that. And yeah, we're gonna talk about some like running mountain stuff in Maine. I hiked Katahdin before when I went up to college. So and there's some awesome mountains around the Moosehead area that I always am kind of looking at. Mount Kineo is awesome. So we're gonna do some mountain talk, some Maine talk, some fun stuff. So it should be a good episode. Stick with us. And before we get started, we are going to do another 60-second training tip. This tip is going to be revolving around cooling. Everyone knows that cooling can help your output in running, specifically during races. But I also use cooling during my speed workouts, especially if I'm indoors. Like if you're on a treadmill or a Stairmaster doing a workout, it's like so easy to just have some cooling with you. So what I do to cool me off when I'm doing hard interval workouts is just bring a bag, a Ziploc bag, sandwich bag of ice. If I leave the house and I'm going to the gym to do a workout and I don't have my ice, I will go back and or stop at a gas station to get ice because I feel like it just helps me get a little more out of myself during the workouts when they're really hard. When you fill it up at the beginning, it's not going to be super melty. It's going to kind of feel a little rigid, but after like 10 or 15 minutes of kind of touching it, using it during your workout, it will melt a little bit and it starts kind of like feeling it contorts to your body almost. And I rub it on my hands, my face, my neck, my arms, my stomach, anywhere that seems kind of hot, like just trying to cool your body down. I just rub myself with a bag of ice at the gym and at Planet Fitness, and most people stare at me, but it's okay because I'm getting gains. So that was the tip today. If you have any questions, like always, go to runmountainpeaks.com and you can just send me a message there. But okay, getting into the main talk. So I guess I'll do like a brief history of my main roots. So I grew up in southern New Hampshire, but growing up we had a little camp in central Maine that I would go to a couple times a year, and so that was kind of good exposure. Central Maine is very rural, but it was a cool place. I always loved going up there. And then for college, I went to University of Maine. I went to Orono. And so I lived in Maine for 3 years. I mean, for the majority of 3 years when I was going to school there. So I got to see a lot of Maine, and thinking back, I actually I don't think I fully utilized, like, living in Maine. Obviously, you're going to college, different priorities, like, I hadn't gotten into hiking as much. I still like getting outdoors and doing some stuff around that, around the campus and stuff, but I wasn't like I only went to Katahdin once. I didn't fully I wasn't into the outdoor hiking, running scene yet. Which is fine. I mean, college, I was there for school, did a lot of sports, intramural stuff, but I think just the remoteness, the outdoors of Maine is just so awesome. Didn't fully get out in there, but I still had a good experience. Um, so yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is I wasn't doing any of this hiking, running stuff on trails, so I didn't explore many of the trails around there. The campus on Orono had a bunch of trail systems that I like to just go on, like, walks for. I really like doing that, and did a little bit of, like, fishing around there, did some hunting in Central Maine, like, by our camp, but that's the extent of my outdoor experience there. So, a little bit of a miss, but, I think I love getting up to Northern Maine, so I get back there. I'm gonna try to, in the future, get back there more. But one of the stories that I did wanna tell is before going to college at UMaine, they had, an orientation week up at UMaine. So, it was just, like, I think an easy way to kinda meet people because I didn't really know anyone. I knew a couple people from my hometown that were going to UMaine. I wasn't super close with them, hung out with them maybe a little bit out on campus, but I didn't really know anyone. This was kind of like me doing my own thing. So I went to this orientation to kind of meet people, and it was an outdoor adventure weekend with miscellaneous activities that you could choose. So the ones that I choose, I think the base camp we camped up in Baxter State Park, so that was kind of like the base camp. And then the activities that I choose were I hiked Katahdin, I did whitewater rafting, and then maybe there was one more, like canoeing or something. No, it wasn't canoeing, but I can't really remember. But the 2 I remember are the whitewater rafting and the Katahdin. So so that I went on that trip, and it was, like, a cool way to meet people, and I met a few people, there and just kind of, like, got my toe into, like, you don't know anyone here. You don't know anyone here. You have to make friends. And so that was one of my first I would say what year was that? I just was looking at my grid application sheet, and I think I had a few 4,000 footers, like maybe 1 or 2 in 2015, 2016. But Katahdin was probably like my biggest hike to date. It was definitely like a big deal when I did it. And I mean, it was cool. I remember that's what I remember. I remember it being cool. I remember I wanted to do the knife's edge, but there was only a handful of people, or like, I don't know. There were a bunch of groups that you got to sign up for, and, like, it was already full or something, so I couldn't do the knife's edge. But I hiked Katahdin. I don't even know the route, like, I haven't been up to that area that well. I know we kind of went up this steep area, and then Katahdin was off to over my right shoulder way in the distance. So that's if you guys can put that together, that's the trail I went up. And one of the things I do remember on that hike was I don't even remember being like how strenuous it was, if I was tired, how long it took. No recollection of that. But I do remember getting up above tree line and seeing Katahdin in the distance and being like, there's zero chance we get there today. Like, there's no way we get there, guys. It's so far away. Which I think that's something actually I've gotten a little bit better at, but when you see something in the distance, like when you see something a mile away, a mountain a mile away, a peak a mile away, it looks so far. Like that's gonna take you so long, and it never really takes as long as it looks. I don't know. I mean, just like running a mile doesn't take super long. Obviously, on trail, it's gonna take a little bit longer with gain, but in 15 minutes, you could be there. And so that's a little perspective, but I had no trail experience, so I was like, "That we should just pack it in, guys, because we ain't getting there." But we got there, did Katahdin, that was cool. I remember that night they must have supplied tents because there was a bunch of us guys sleeping in one tent. I didn't know these guys. We're all sleeping in a tent. We hiked a ton. We're probably like dirty. I don't know. Like I'm sure there were showers, but we probably weren't like the cleanest. And I remember it was super hot, super humid, muggy. And at one point in the night, we just like I was like I think we were all kind of like, what are we doing right now? And we just had the giggles basically. Like we could not stop laughing about, like, how crazy, like, stupid this situation was. Like, it was so hot and uncomfortable, and you had no space, and I'm not, like, super big into, like, tenting out, and I don't sleep good out in the outdoors like that, so I was kind of, like, out of my comfort zone, and, yeah, I just remember that night being like, I need it to be morning so I can get out of this tent. Um, so that's what I remember there, and then the last day of the trip, we did whitewater rafting, and I wish I remembered the river that we did the whitewater rafting, for. I mean, it was before the fall semester, so it was, like, late summer. I forget the river, but it was low. Basically, it was low, and the whitewater rafting, they kinda talk it up as to being, like, this crazy thing, like, super, and this is the start of the extreme sports talk. They kinda talk it up as being, like, this crazy, like, people are falling off, you know, keep your legs up, if you put your leg down, you get caught, you could die, and I'm sure a lot of whitewater rafting is like that. I'm sure we didn't hit it at a good time, but I remember being very underwhelmed. I wasn't even close to getting thrown off the boat. There were, like, 2 little sections that were maybe a little bit of whitewater, and the rest was, like, fairly smooth going. I think one person fell in, and I think they wanted to fall in. I'm just gonna chalk it up to a bad time of year, because some of those, like, I do watch whitewater, or not watch, but I've seen some stuff where it is, like, the people in kayaks are going down crazy rivers, high water. It is insane. And water is scary. Water is very, very scary. I feel like just, like, swimming a little bit in rivers and even oceans too, and just spending time and, like, seeing some of, there's a big falls, Wildcat Falls, where near where I kinda grew up, and when it rains a lot and the water's pumping, it is so scary, the amount of volume and force that water has. So you don't mess with water, but on that day, it was not scary. But yeah, so then that kinda got me thinking about extreme sports. I was thinking about what extreme sports, or I don't know, is that an extreme sport, or extreme activity maybe is the better word. What extreme activities have I done, and how would I rank them? So this is kind of like another mini ranking in this episode, but whitewater rafting, I think it's, what was the list? I have it right here. I think it is 4, yeah, no, whitewater rafting is 4. That was the lowest extreme sport that I've done in my experience. That's gonna be number 4. Number 3, and I guess I just give you guys all of this. I've gone whitewater rafting, skydiving, zip lining, we're gonna throw that in there, and then parasailing. So, I feel like growing up, my parents are pretty good about, like, taking us on kind of activities like that, and so I've kind of, like, done all of those things. Well, the skydiving was kind of on my own doing, but yeah, those are the activities. I think whitewater rafting is still gonna be 4 for me. Number 3, surprisingly, is gonna be parasailing. We've gone parasailing a couple times, at the Cape, at Cape Cod, and it's pretty cool. You go out over Cape Cod Bay, and you can see the whole, like, the top of the arm on the Cape, if you can see that. You can kind of, like, you go all around this area, so it's like you can see lots of the island, you can see the whole curve, it's very cool, and at first, you're kinda looking at the setup, and you're thinking, like, "This is just, like, some guy with a boat, and he bought some rope, and he has a like, this doesn't seem, there are no safety standards," you know? It's, I'm sure there are, I'm sure, but, like, I don't remember, like, it was kinda like, "Alright, who's up first?" And then you just click in, then you go. So, it was not like, it doesn't feel super safe when you start, but yeah, once you get going, basically the boat just goes and it pulls you up very high, and then once you hit the maximum height or whatever, you're pretty much good. But when it's shocking when you get up to the height in parasailing, you would think it's kind of like an airplane, or like of a car, you roll the window down, it's going 30 or 60 or whatever miles an hour. It's very kind of like loud and windy. Every time I've gone parasailing, it's like you're in a movie. It's like the opening scene of a movie, you know, when they do that big, back in the day when they did that big, like, drone shot before we had drones, so it must have been just been cinematic, and it's just, like, quiet with, like, a little bit of music, like, motivational music, and you're just going over the skyline, the sun's coming up. It kinda is just like that. Very quiet, very picturesque, very, "Is this a green screen?" And that's it. I wouldn't so it's not really, like, super extreme, I would say. I guess landing on the boat back when you're getting reeled in is a little bit extreme, but it doesn't seem super extreme, and it seems pretty safe. If you go, it's pretty much just like a swing. Like, when you went to like a Six Flags or a Canopy Lake Park and they had the swing ride, it's pretty much just the same mechanism as a swing ride. You get a bar over you, you get a strap, and you're kind of good. So I think the system is good, but if you're kind of like one of those kids that kind of like just like squirm, or like my dwarf hamster, you just like push his face through all the cages we bought, and he would just get out. If you're kind of like a squirmy little kid that just like pushes the boundaries of like uh confinement equipment, I feel like you just slip out, you know? But if you're not messing around like that, it's fairly safe. You're just strapped in and you're chilling. And if you, let's just say, like, the one fear is like, what if we get detached from this boat? You just glide down, because I think the boat is pulling you, but the whole parasail mechanism still works. So really the only I guess if the parasail itself got messed up, you could just start plummeting. Yeah, I guess that would be the one thing. But it doesn't seem, it seems like there's kind of safety, there's a backup plan. There's a plan B. If you get detached, you're gonna float down nice, and I think people have actually done this in different places. Cape Cod is notorious for their gray white sharks now, so that's maybe like a one thing. Like, how much time do I have between the parasail entering Cape Cod Bay and the boat tracking us down? I would assume that the boat is fast enough to just get there, and it's, oh my God, we're so sorry, can't believe that happened. I'm so glad you're safe. We're gonna give you your money back. But who knows? A strong wind. What actually would happen if you're in the parasail and the end of Cape Cod is very narrow? It's only a few miles across. I love running in Cape Cod in the summer because you run to the oceanside beach and then go to the bayside. But what if you get a strong wind, some sort of wind, a strong wind, and it takes you across the island to the oceanside? Then you're screwed, because there's seals over there and there's sharks over there. So you don't want that. If you go out to the bay, like the middle of the bay, me and my dad, we used to go fishing out in the middle of the bay, and it's shocking. Those are big waters out there. So who knows? But overall, I think parasailing is fairly mild, and it's very cool. It's a good experience. Everyone should go do it. Number 2 is gonna be ziplining as far as extreme. And I don't know, ziplining seems a little bit more of like your adventure is chosen for you, because you just go on this line and everyone does the same line. You have a different course or whatever. But the thing I think about ziplining is, you can't, a lot of the times, one time I went ziplining, I've only been a couple times, it was foggy, because you go to the top of the mountain. It might have been like Dunstock or something. You go to the top of the mountain and it's foggy, and you just have to trust that there's nothing, over the drop of the zip line. You have to just trust that the trail is cleared for you. Like, you get a feeling of like, oh man, I am ripping down this thing. I hope there's not just like a log here for some reason today. That is a little bit of a scary thought. And I remember one guy from high school, yeah, one guy from high school, I think he broke his ankle actually on a zip line. He was like a basketball player, very, very big guy, like 6 whatever, and I think he hit his ankle on a zip line, and he broke it. So that's why I think zip line is a little bit more extreme. I don't think you have control. I guess you probably do have brakes, but come on, you don't want to hit this. Yeah, I guess you do want to hit the brakes. But yeah, it just feels like a little bit of like, you're putting your faith that there's no trees around, even though you're bobbing and weaving through all these trees, which is like, I'm sure these guys clear it every whatever, but who knows? In the sky on a parasail, you just like, there's nothing in the way. Bird, maybe? No, not bird. There's nothing up there. And then last, obviously, is skydiving. So yeah, went skydiving once. Definitely the most extreme. I mean, you're jumping out of a plane, so just all the elements are there to be super extreme. One thing that I remember from the skydiving, you're in a plane, I was strapped to an unknown man that I didn't know, like, you're in his crotch kinda thing, which is always just like, it puts you at a little bit, or who knows, for me, no, I don't think it's anyone's comfortable with doing that. Like, it puts you in a weird situation where you're thrown off your comfort, you're in a plane, what's going on? So I was not comfortable, even though those people are very nice and they try to like calm you down. It's gonna be cool. Done this a million times. This is my 2 millionth jump, whatever. So, but you're in a plane that it's like a plane in a movie. There's no seats, there's nothing in it. It's just like a bench and the whole I don't know, what is it called? A cockpit? No, what's the not the cockpit, like the main thing of the plane? It's just a bench and everyone's lined up and there's nothing else in the plane. And once start people start jumping out, I remember having a little bit of a weird feeling being like it felt like I almost had to get out of the plane. Like, I was nervous to jump, but the plane like, people are getting out, there's nothing in it, and I don't s I'm like, "Wait, is this plane even functional? Is this plane able to land? Like, I think I have to get off this plane, it's going down," like, kinda thing. I don't know why. So I remember that, like, being a feeling which I didn't expect, and then, yeah, once you jump, you're just like, you're just in it, and you're just like in your head, it's like crazy, the adrenaline, all this stuff. Once you're falling for like 30, 45 seconds, that's when you start thinking, all right, let's hope this thing opens, right? Obviously they have a couple packs or whatever, but you're just relying on that thing to open up. And then once it opens up, it's kind of like the parasailing. You're like, you're pretty good. Someone's steering that one. That feels even like a little bit easier. And it feels fairly safe. So I would say the skydiving is the most extreme. I wouldn't do it again. Like maybe I'm not really like I guess I'm not an adrenaline junkie. I mean, maybe in some ways I am, but nah, no, I wouldn't call myself an adrenaline junkie. I don't need to chase that adrenaline again. I'll say that. It made you feel weird. Like I remember my I had a little bit of a headache and your stomach kind of hurts just because you go from such high elevation to such low so quickly. The pressure in your head, everything gets messed up. So I remember feeling kind of sick after and that was it, but I was happy to hit the ground. I had some they took a video of everybody that I had a video, like, on an old phone or something, poof, gone, won't capture it again, which is won't ever have that again, which is a little bit sad, but yeah, skydiving was cool. So I'd recommend all of those sports to anyone who's willing. Um, but yeah, that's how I'd rank them in terms of like extremeness, in terms of scariness. And that was our little extreme sports side tangent. Now getting back to Maine. So we did the story before going to Maine. We talked a little bit about like I didn't do a ton of hiking. The one thing that I did do was went to Acadia a couple times. And I remember the first time I went to Acadia, I what is it, the sandy beach? That's very sandy. I think it's called Sandy Beach or something like that. When you get there and it's like the cliffs and a good day in the ocean and there's the sandy beach and all the colors are great. It was the first time in my life where I was like, this seems straight out of National Geographic magazine. Like this is unbelievable, picturesque. It's just gorgeous. Like that's obviously why everyone goes there. So I remember being a little bit blown away with that. I've never ran there. Like I did the whole driving around the loop there. I know there's a ton of trails up there. So one day I wanna go back and do a running trip up there. Maybe this summer, who knows? Um, so that was kind of like the stuff that I did at UMaine and kind of the outdoor stuff. But after school, pretty much, yeah, I think the year after I graduated school, me and some of the friends that I made up from Maine, we started going to Lake Moosehead for an annual ice fishing trip in February, and it's been something we've done. I think this is our 7th year, so 7 straight years, which is very cool, and it's always a trip I look forward to. The trip's evolved over the years a little bit, and so I have, like, we have a few stories that we'll kind of just, like, go through, like, what I kind of think about, but the main objective, or usually the main objective, is to go up there and do a little bit of ice fishing. So, Mainers love their ice fishing, love snowmobiling. A lot of people look forward to the winter, and so it's kind of like a big tradition up there and lots of hype behind it, and it's a fun activity. It's obviously very cold up there, and they always have ice, like, in the winter, which is a little bit different from around here. Like, sometimes we actually don't have enough ice to go out on lakes all the time, so I think that's why it's a little bit more rooted up there, and Lake Moosehead is one of the I don't know if it has to be one of the best fisheries in Maine and one of the last I don't know, it just feels it there's a lot of people who live on the lake, there's a lot of kind of, like, tourism around it, I would assume, but it's a total different feel than, like, a Lake Winnipesaukee or one of the big lakes in New Hampshire because it's a little bit more northern, it's more rural, the lake is massive, I think it's bigger than Winnipesaukee, and that's a huge lake, and there are, like, still, like, native landlocked salmon, which is like one of the big things in the trip, but there are species of fish that you cannot catch anywhere else. Like there's native landlocked salmon, which is one of the only places that they still exist where they don't get stocked in New England. There are massive trout, brook trout, lake trout, some of the biggest fish that are caught in the state of Maine in that body of water because it's so big. It's so deep, 2 to 300 feet in some places, and it's like still just feels very wild out there. So it's a really cool place to go, and every winter we go up there and fish. And so the first year we did this trip, I think it was just 5 of us. I don't know whose idea it was, but I think it was Sawyer's. But we went up there and we fished so hard. So like ice fishing, especially for salmon, like a lot of people will go out, like they'll have shacks on the ice and they kind of go out and they stay most of the day. Some people will do like it's more of like a pop-up tent instead of like the full ice shack, but like Bob House kind of thing. So you could be a little more mobile. Some people don't even go out there with a tent if it's not super cold. But usually, so if you have like a big tent or a nice place, you can stay out there all day. But if you don't, like you go out for the morning or the evening, like those are the best times to fish. And for salmon, particularly, like the morning is the best time, like right after sunrise. So for 4 straight days, we got out there in the dark and set up and fished hard for salmon. And we killed it that first year. We were catching big salmon like the whole morning, running around, setting our traps, getting fish, and it was really cool. And also, this was back when I was still drinking. We just were drinking a ton, no sleep. Like I think that first trip, I got 2 hours of sleep each night for 4 straight days, and we just fished super hard and just destroyed our bodies, like just playing games, whatever. A classic like guys weekend. Um, so that was super fun. And one of the places, like I'm not gonna say where we fish, I'm not gonna do it the other way, but we go by like usually stay in Greenville or Rockwood, and one of the big features up there is Mount Kineo. So it's not a huge mountain. This is probably not a mountain that's on someone's radar, but as far as picturesque views in the wilderness that I've seen, being under Mount Kineo looking up at the face of it is just one of the best pictures that I've seen ever. Like, I've been on all the mountains now in New Hampshire, been on trails, seen different things. It is Acadia, like we were talking about. Mount Kineo is awesome, and it's pretty much, if you look at it on the map, Google Mount Kineo. If you look at it, it's like some sort of tectonic plates or something happened where just a big ridge came out of nowhere, and it formed this mountain in the middle of the lake on an island. And what happens, it literally just looks like it was lifted up from the ground. And so there's like a couple 100 feet rock face that just is overhanging the lake by a few 100 feet. And then below the lake, it's 200 feet deep, like 10 feet offshore, maybe 50 feet offshore. It's just straight down. And the view going under it, so if you're on the ice, like on a snowmobile, whatever, driving under it's awesome. If you're on a boat, I've been there during the summer on a boat looking at it, and it's awesome. It's just a super cool place to go to. I think the view on top would probably be like a good lake view, maybe something to like a Mount Major or somewhere around the I don't know if the view on top of the mountain is anything crazy, but the view under that rock face is unbelievable. The colors in it, I don't know what kind of rock that is. The colors are like crazy. You can't believe it. You're gonna look at a picture and be like, "That's cool," but it's not. When you're there in person, it's insane. It's just one of those things you got to stop and look at. So that's a cool feature. And there's a trail to the top of Mount Kineo. I've never summited Mount Kineo. We're just too busy fishing, doing everything like, and I just don't, busy up there. So I haven't made the time to get out there. I don't think it's super popular. To hike it, you have to cross the lake. So I think once or twice I've seen people with snowshoes walking across the lake to go climb it, but it's not something that gets stomped out a lot. But I have thought like, oh, it would be cool to go get that Strava crown on Kineo. And I remember one time I actually looked though on Strava, and it's actually pretty fast. And so it's not something like I could not do it if it is not like the trail isn't usually super packed out. So it's like I don't even know if you could do it in the winter. So maybe this summer I got to go up there you would kayak or boat across the lake, maybe triathlon across the lake, swim across, and then run Kineo. But it's very cool. And as far as other mountains in that area, it's it's a little bit it's unique. Northern Maine, there's actually a lot of mountains that are it's kind of in they're not as hiking mountains as more of like, they're in these big industrial forests in Maine. And a lot of them do have trails, but it's like the big woods of Maine up there, and they're just kind of in the middle of nowhere, and they only people get out there are, like, hunters, loggers, people like that, like, hikers don't get out a lot, and it's cool. So, in the White Mountains, you have mountains everywhere. It's, like, just peak, high peak, just everywhere surrounding you, but up there, it's almost like longer stretches of flatter woods, so you can see forever, and then in every little distance there's a couple mountains that poke out pretty good. Nothing crazy, maybe 2 to 3,000 feet, maybe 3,500, not 4,000 footers, but they just poke out enough to be like, and it's all alone. So it's not like mountains everywhere. It's like couple mountains here. Ooh, what are those? I want to go couple mountains here. What are those? Couple mountains over there. What are those? Like, and it's all kind of spread out. And so it's really cool. And I would love to, I'd love to have a little place up there that you could kind of I don't know. I guess we already have a little place more in central Maine, but yeah, I would like to spend more time and do more running up there maybe in the summer sometime, but it's super nice. And Greenville is right near the AT. So that's pretty much the section of the 100-mile wilderness route. So it's definitely sparked my interest in the 100-mile wilderness route. I think the terrain up there is super cool. It's just a different vibe. It's very big woodsy feels up there. So yeah, the 100-mile wilderness honestly is on my radar just because it's so cool and it does look very intriguing. But the thing with the 100-mile wilderness is it's point to point, and it's you need a lot of support. Like the getting support at road crossings is not kind of like something around here. It's takes more effort. It's more remote, and it would just be more effort and planning and needing support. So it's something a little bit maybe harder to pull off as far as logistics, but one day I would love to do it because the area up there is just so awesome. So, Northern Maine, if you haven't been out on Northern Maine, you gotta get out on Northern Maine because it is really a gem up there. So, yeah, that was kind of like the main. I guess some other stories yeah, like I said, we used to like fish really hard. I feel like each year we spend a little bit less time fishing and a little bit more time just like hanging out or sleeping a little bit more, like hanging out with buddies, grabbing food, stuff like that. Um, yeah, and we've had a lot of good times over the years. Like we always bring a bunch of, we do it's like snowmobiling. We play lots of games, so we invented a couple games up there. Rock golf, ice hole from this year. We play a ton of Codenames. If you guys I don't know if you guys have played Codenames, but we get deep into Codenames. And, yeah, there was a malicious attack against me in Codenames this year, which I don't maybe this is not like one of the stories I should share. No, it was Codenames is like it's like a word game, and you give clues to your partner, and there's a timer, and it's very, like it's hard because all the words are the same. You have to give a clue that, like, helps your team get your words and not the other person's words, so it's really hard. If you played it, giving clues can be hard, and I am notoriously a fast clue giver. I just go with my gut, and some people take a lot about a time. I'm not gonna name names. I'm not gonna name names. Sorry, I'm not gonna name names. Some people take a lot of time. So, sometimes you're sitting there and finally like, all right, you gotta pick a word here, put the timer down. So the timer is kind of like if it's getting too big, you put it down. And I never get the timer put against me because I'm saying my words quick. But at the end of a game, they had one card left, so basically they're gonna win. I have 2 cards, very hard. There's a death word, my 2 words, and you gotta combine it, and I know that this is the last chance. I haven't taken any time yet, and immediately, I think for 30 seconds, 30 seconds, immediately flips it on me, and I just honestly, I stopped thinking, I was like, "Dude, this is crazy. I take no time. You take so much time on every turn, so every single turn." That's a crazy move you just did. This is for the whole game. If there's any time for one person to get time to think, it is for the game. This is for the game. Let the guy think about a good word. This is malicious. This is the whole fun of the game. It's not fun when you're giving out 2-word clues every round, taking forever to think about it. 1-word clues after sitting there for 2 minutes. This is for the game. I'm saying sploosh for 5. My teammates hate it, but we're about to win. I need a couple minutes here to think about a good word for my 2 abstract things without getting the death word. And you put the timer on me. And it was a fast timer this year. This timer was like a 20-second timer. And so I used the whole time to go at Sawyer. And then I said a bad word and we didn't win. And then after that, I was like, this is it. I mean, this is the tone for the weekend. I am being malicious with this timer the rest of the weekend. So anytime there was a big decision, you would just time it on people, which I just think it ruins the fun of the game. If we want to play like that from the beginning, I'm cool with it because I think I'm a clue giver. But if we're giving everyone else time and then one at the end of the game, you flip the thing. Crazy. I didn't get fired up right there. Yeah, it was fun. It's a fun game. I didn't get too fired up there. Yeah, that was crazy. So, but then it became a joke for the weekend, like just flipping the timer on everything people does, and I did flip it, so whatever. But we play a lot of Codenames, play a ton of games like that. Ice Rock. You basically, I'll just tell you, no, rock golf. This is how you play rock golf. One person has a stone. Wait, is it a stone? No, sometimes we use a water bottle. Actually, it doesn't matter what it is. But it's like bocce. You take something, you throw it. You have to be on a lake or a pond with some jagged ice, some open ice, and some snowbanks, some drifts. Those are the best conditions. Lots of variables. Somebody throws it, and you each have to find 2 rocks along the bank. Or no, we found a bunch of rocks and then we drafted the rocks. Yeah, that's how we do it. Then we draft rocks. What rocks are good? You want a small rock? You want a big rock? So one person throws a thing and then you play bocce, whoever gets close. And you would think it can be insane. So that's one of the games we played. And then this time we played ice hole. It was kind of like curling and cornhole together. You drill a hole in the ice and then you play curling. And it's super fun. And you can set up a course. We had some snowbank, little bumpers to do it on. And so we do a lot of like that stuff now, like more like fun stuff. We catch a few fish. We caught a few fish this year. I caught actually a big lake trout. I caught a 4.5-pound lake trout. And at the end of the day, the biologist, there was a fish biologist going out there collecting data. So he came over to us and he was kind of talking, measuring fish, doing, taking all the stuff and he was saying, and he said, it was like, "Oh, this is the biggest lake trout I've seen in a few weeks," and which is kind of like, "Oh, nice." It was like a nice fish, but it wasn't anything like super crazy. But then come to find out, he just started this winter, so we're like, does that give you this? He hasn't seen too much, but no, he said a few weeks. So we were talking about this. This is a little fishing hack for anybody out there fishing. You catch a fish, 4.5 pounds. 4.5 pounds in person. That was my lake trout. 5.5 pounds on TV or YouTube. If I recorded it, you just say 5.5 pounds. And on the radio, on a podcast, 6.5 pounds. Yeah, actually, I caught a 6.5 pound lake trout. That was a joke. I heard that was just kind of dying laughing because, like, you kind of make the story, you build it up a little bit, and on TV you can see it, but you can't tell exactly how big it is. So you held it out a little bit, and you can say it's bigger than it is. And the radio, you can't see anything, so you just say whatever you want. So we were kind of joking that joking about that this weekend. But yeah, it was a good trip. It was a fun trip. I look forward to it every year. And this year, actually, I will be honest, I got some runs in up there, which was good for me. So because I gotta stay training up there. I got big goals, guys. I got big goals, and I gotta go after it. But yeah, that was kind of like the main talk, some main stories. I think I gotta spend more time on the trails up in Maine. I really do think they're awesome. Mountains up there, probably slept on, underrated. But next topic we're gonna do is tracking my sleep. So I want to talk about the sleep tracking. I pretty much just bought a sleep tracker recently that I just wear during bed. You know, I have my GPS watch. It's a Garmin, but it's like too clunky. It's big, and I don't really think the sensors are great, and I don't think Garmin specializes in the sleep stuff. So I bought a sleep strap. I bought a Whoop. Excuse me. Do I have to cut that? No, no, no. I bought a Whoop. Um, so I've been wearing that to bed to just track sleep. And for a long time, I didn't want to track my sleep because if I sleep bad, if I don't get a lot of sleep, I know it. I don't need somebody telling, "Hey, you recovery's low, you slept bad last night." It's like, "No, I know, I'm tired. I know, I feel like crap. Like, I don't need you telling me this." And, you know, sometimes it gets in your brain, like, if you have a bad HRV or something, you're like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't do a workout," but if it's the only time that week you do a workout, it's, like, kind of, like, messes with your mind a little bit. So I'm kind of like, you know, just sleep the best you can and don't worry about it, don't track about it. That was my, thoughts for a long time, but I really do think, like, sleep is so important. I'm really trying to dial in everything this year and, like, moving forward, you know, sleep, training, nutrition, everything, really kinda get the most out of myself, and I do think tracking the sleep is going to help me in the long run get better sleep. Now, at first, I was trying some, you know, there's lots of hacks, sleep hacks, what you should do to sleep better, and I'll go through some of the ones that I've been doing, but I it's hard. Some of the things I was trying, I didn't know if it was helping. So I was like, "You know what? This is gonna give me some data onto, you know, if I try something to sleep better, is this working or is this not working?" So that was kind of like one of the big reasons to get me the strap. And I've been liking it so far. I think it's good. I think it's actually reinforced a lot of what I thought and what I'm feeling more than it's hurt me. So there's been actually more days where I think, "Oh, I actually got decent sleep last night and I recovered good," where I thought I maybe felt a little bit more tired or lethargic. I'm like, "Oh, no, I'm good to train. Like, I'm good to go here." So it's actually that was something I was not expecting. The strap was fine to wear to bed. I was thinking it would kinda be annoying. I've already gotten used to it, so I don't think that that's super annoying. And so I really think it's helped me, and I don't think it's something that's gonna hold me back. I think it's only gonna be data that I can use to help me get better, and so I'm in on it. I'm wearing this thing from here on out. I'm tracking my sleep. Unless things start going bad, I'm gonna start tracking my sleep. So, I think it's a good thing to have. Some of the things that I've tried to get my sleep better, the one obvious one that everyone kind of knows, everyone says, is the blue light before bed. I've really been trying to all screens, phone, computer, laptop, everything off about an hour, like 40, you know, half hour, 45 minutes to an hour, ideally, before I go to bed. I've been trying that and I've been sleeping pretty good. Sometimes, like, this is actually, like, sad to say. Sometimes I feel like scrolling on my phone a little bit before bed can actually help me fall asleep, but I don't think, like, all of the science says it doesn't. So that was kind of one thing where I was like, "I don't know, like, I feel like it helps me sleep." But what I actually have determined, I think looking at your phone before bed, it doesn't help you get better sleep. It helps you fall asleep because we're addicted to using our phone, and so if we don't use our phone for a while before bed, you have almost withdrawal symptoms from your phone. That I don't This is what I feel like. So, it took me a while to break the pattern of being on the phone before bed, and I've really been trying to get off the phone more, and so that's always, like, kind of like a fight. I'm sure it is with everybody, but I feel like I'm getting to a place where I don't, you know, my bedtime routine, it does not include the phone, so I'm kind of over that, and now I think it probably does help me sleep better. So, yeah, if you're saying getting off the phone before bed doesn't help you sleep better, I would challenge you to get unaddicted to your phone during your nighttime routine for a few weeks and then see. When you don't need it to fall asleep, then see if you think it helps your sleep. So that was number one. The other one too is food. Eating food right before you go to bed is not good for you. I think again, this is one that like for me, it's like, I sleep good like when I have a full stomach. I don't think I really like I used to always eat 5 eggs plus and an apple before bed every night, like, right within a half hour going to sleep. And so I was kind of like, I'm so busy, like, I can only eat X amount, like, this is a good eating routine for me, it's something that works if I go to the gym late at night. I just can't change it, there's nothing I can do. I chalked it up to there's nothing I can do. But I've reworked my brain a little bit and I've thought, no, like there are other ways to get your food in. There's other ways that you could schedule your training. If this is something that actually is going to help me sleep better and recover better, you should be doing it. Like it's you should be doing it. This is not a supplement. This is not somebody is selling you. This is research back data in a free habit that you can do to improve your recovery. Do you really want to get the most out of yourself? If your answer is yes, you got to try it out. At least try it out with data. So I've been trying it out. And again, it took me a little bit to adjust, but once you have a new sleeping routine, once that kind of it takes a little bit. There's a little bit of friction it felt like for me, but once you flip that switch, the routine feels good, and I've been sleeping better overall. And so I eat my last bit of food about, 2 hours before I go to sleep, maybe 2 a little bit more, 2, 2.5. And people say longer is more. 2 to 3 hours is the most that I can do right now, to open minded right now, but it's a huge improvement from what I was doing. So I'm gonna keep it up and keep doing that and see how it feels. So that's been really helping. And then the last thing, waking up to go to the bathroom. I think this is like, everyone just does it. And a lot of the times, or maybe most people, and a lot of the times it's within your REM cycles. Like I'm not into the full science of it, but it's something that like can disrupt my sleep. It's something where if I get up and I start thinking about something, it can negatively impact me. So what I trying to do, and this is the same thing with eating, I try to keep the same liquid intake, water intake, but I move it up in the day. And 7 o'clock, I stop drinking. Now, I've noticed my mouth will get a little bit dry or days I feel like a little bit more dehydrated. I kinda need a little bit of water, so I'll just tiny sips. They say sips is gonna be better than gulps, so I do tiny sips just to wet the mouth and get me over, and then I'll put a lot of salt in it before I go to bed. Because whenever I wake up in the night, I will take a little sip of water. If there's salt in it, it's gonna help you retain the water better than just straight water. So and I think that that's helped a good amount too. And some nights I almost feel like I'm a little bit dehydrated, but it's helping with my recovery. And then if I just rehydrate in the morning, like fast in the morning, like I'm drinking more right when I wake up, then I think it's fine. So those are the things that I've been trying for sleep. They have been working. I think it's hard to implement everything they tell you to implement online, but I think it's really worth it. And I think if you really want to get the best out of yourself, you should be doing everything you can to recover. A lot of people will put X amount of volume, X amount of miles, hours in. I'm training super hard. But if you are not protecting your nighttime routine for sleep and getting good, consistent sleep, then you're just leaving gains on the table. And that's something you got to be okay with. And I'm not okay with. So I'm trying to fix it. So that's the sleeping thing. That's my sleeping take. So if you guys have any tricks, I've dabbled a little bit with like magnesium. I think supplements are kind of like a little bit of a slippery slope as far as sleep for me right now. But I'm taking a step at a time, trying to get better sleep and tracking my sleep. So that's where I'm at with the sleep stuff. We got two more things. So we're gonna do the top 3 chips, and then we're gonna do motivational minute. So we'll start with the top 3 chips. Is this my order? Did I write it down in my order? Let me review. Yeah, this is the order. Yeah, this is the order. My top 3 chips. And I am not a chip snack person. And, people who know me can attest. When I go to the grocery store, I don't buy any snacks really. I don't really buy any snacks. I just buy whole foods, fruits, meat, like I never go to the chip aisle. Back in the day, though, I love snacks. I'm a big salt guy. Probably still salt over sweet, savory. I love chips. I love snacks. So here are gonna be my top 3 chips. Oh, I got something going on here. My number no, work in reverse. Honorable mention. I think honorable mention for these chips, I don't know how I feel about it. It's almost like one of my original longest lasting good relationship, but I don't have a good number 1 flavor for this chip that put it in the top 3. So it's kind of something that I grappled with, but I had to give honorable mention, Pringles. I mean, I remember as a kid on the beach, Winnipesaukee, licking the red stuff off of pizza, Pringles, and then putting them in my mouth like a duck, quacking and eating those things down, happy as a clam, and then repeating that. Pringles are awesome. The original Pringles are really, really good. Like they're amazing. Like even if I have a Pringle now, like they're amazing. They're just not they're not there. Sour cream and onion, that's probably my favorite flavor, but I think cream and onion Lay's are maybe a little bit high. Yeah, I think sour cream and onion stacks may be better than sour cream and onion Pringles. And that wouldn't be a top 3 chip. God, but sour cream and onion Pringles are so good. Should I? No, no. Oh, I don't know. No, my number 3. So that's where I have it. So they're in the honorable mention. Pringles are goated, but not in the top 3. My number 3, I think this chip is going to be in everybody's top 3, 90% of people's top 3, one flavor or another. And for me, the one flavor is just, it's good enough to get there. And I actually think that I may have the lower favored flavor as my favorite, but I'm gonna roll with it. That's the Cool Ranch Dorito. I mean, Doritos are just electric. The Cool Ranch is electric. I love a folded Cool Ranch with like double the seasoning. You don't know how it got double the seasoning. You don't know how it got folded, but you love that it's that way. And just putting that down, electric. So Cool Ranch Doritos 3. Number 2, this is one. I don't know if this is, speaking of Maine, I don't know if this is a Maine thing. So a lot of people, if you're not from Maine, you may sleep on this, but if you listen to this whole podcast, maybe you are from Maine or you're more tendencies towards Maine. The All Seasons Humpty Dumpty chip. Oh man. Oh man. I don't know what the seasonings are, but they got all of them on there. Humpty Dumpties are electric. That chip is so good. If you haven't tried it, you have to get to the store today. I know it's at Market Baskets. Humpty Dumpty's all seasoning. Maybe convince someone else to buy it, and then so you can just have a couple. Because if you buy it, you're gonna eat the whole bag, and if that throws you off your training for the week, that's not what I'm here trying to do. But I think you need to try the chip. So if you gotta outsource your chips so you can only actually get 2, do that. Humpty Dumpty. And my third favorite chip, my first favorite chip. Sorry, first favorite chip. These are all so good too. It's kind of like hard to, but my third favorite chip is the salt and vinegar Cape Cod potato chip. Some people like salt and vinegar, some people don't. I think the flavor is just, oh my gosh. I would eat salt and vinegar Cape Cod potato chips until my mouth is bleeding. Like, you know how you eat too many of them and your mouth gets sore from the fire and the flavor that is salt and vinegar? I used to love that. Oh my God. I remember in college, I would get these chips all the time, just eat them nonstop. I couldn't stop. I could not stop eating the salt and vinegar Cape Cod potato chips. The Cape Cod is just the perfect potato chip. It's crunchy, it's big. I love Cape Cod and I love salt and vinegar. That's my number 1. I don't eat chips, but one thing I have been doing recently, salt and vinegar almonds. Whoo! It's almost like the vessel for salt and vinegar doesn't matter. The salt and vinegar is so powerful and just it's, oh my God, it's addicting. You just start eating one, you're just like, you can't have one. You can't have one. If you have one, you're super strong. Can't have one. If you can go and eat one salt and vinegar potato chip, one Humpty Dumpty all season, and you can do that and just eat one of them and then put the bag down for the rest of the day, strongest person on earth. But okay, that was my chip take. We haven't done a food one in a while, so we got back to the roots a little bit. We did a food. Oh no, not like this. We did not like this. My phone's not like this. I haven't been doing the sheet as much because I've been having more notes for some of these podcasts. I don't know how I feel about that. I really love my sheet, but sometimes if I'm busy and I didn't have time to write the sheet, but like, Andrew, it only takes 5 minutes to write on a sheet. Oh God. But I have my phone. But I do remember the motivational minute. So we're going to end this episode today with the motivational minute. Haven't done this in a while. We had a couple good ones. Sometimes they go over the top on this. Sometimes they're saying say the same stuff over and over again, but I think it's worth saying. But today's motivational minute, inspired by Dustin Poirier, UFC fighter. He always had the hashtag PaidInFull, always on all this stuff. He had a bunch of different sayings, but that was one of the things that he always posted, paid in full. And I saw it a couple times recently, again and again. And I love that hashtag. And part of you guys are like, oh, Andrew, you're just selling out, trying to do the pot. You're throwing your own stuff, all the website, all this thing, the coaching, all this thing. You just want to get paid. You just want to get paid now, don't you? No. I actually think that quote is like the reverse. That quote means to me is paid in full. Obviously, Dustin Poirier is one of the top guys in the sport and probably has lots of money and all these different things, but he's somebody that people look up to. He's accomplished. He's climbed the mountains. He's conquered. He's done it for a long time. He's one of the GOATs. Everyone loves him. Respect. Just a true GOAT athlete. Mount Rushmore. I don't know. Mount Rushmore of UFC. Mount Rushmore is his division. Hall of Fame UFC guy. And I think for me, when I hear that and see what he's been through, the wars that he's been through, the stuff that he's dealt with, the things he's talked about, it just reminds me of the amount of effort and sacrifice, blood, sweat, and tears that he has probably put into the game. I don't even know. It's probably way more than I think. But all that he has put into it to be number one. It's so easy to see people online or see people doing stuff that you want to do or see people whatever and just think kind of the must be nicer or oh, I could do that, or oh, blah blah blah, all of these things. And the thing that you don't see is the massive amount of work, incomprehensible work that they have done to get there. And some of it's genes, some of it's luck, some of it's all these things. And people like to kind of poke and prod at people and say, oh, it's only because you did this because of this. You did that because of that. Oh, I could this if I had that. And it's like all of that is so, if I hear someone start talking about that, I just kind of like, I do not mess with that anymore, because all of these people who achieve greatness put in more work than you could even fathom. And the more that I kind of like talk to these people and kind of start to go down some of the paths that I'm branching out into, it just takes way more work than whatever you're doing. It takes so much more work than what you are doing to get what you want. That's like the brutal truth. It takes more work to get what you to get what you want than you think, by a landslide. And so what do you have to do? If you want to be paid in full, you got to put in the work. You have to do it. And I think in endurance running, this is a disclaimer, especially as an endurance coach. This is a big disclaimer. This does not mean go and train 20, 30 hours. Do not train like Christian Blumenfeld, 30 billion hours a week. Do not train like these top athletes. Do not run 150 miles a week like some of these runners. It does not mean that, because a lot of people would just break them. It means maximize your potential in what you're doing today. And that is training properly, training with a structured plan to get closer to your goal. I always say get faster, but my goal is to get faster. If other people have different goals, it's a different goal. But your plan should be getting closer to your goal, right? It should be a structured plan to get closer to your goal. And every day you should be figuring out a way to maximize your output. And so if you can't train X amount with getting hurt, wow, what can I do with recovery? What can I eat more? How can I sleep better, get more recovery? How can I stay consistent? How can I try a new stimulus or a new training route or a new program or a new workout that's going to get me gains that I have been missing? You need to every day be like fiercely interrogating yourself and your program and what you're doing and say, how can you get better? Challenge yourself to get better. Because I'm telling you, especially in the trail running, this world of trail running, ultra running, mountain running, the sport's growing. People are going harder. People are getting more scientific. People are putting in more work than you. And if you are not trying to maximize yourself every single day, you're going to get swept over by these guys and these girls who are putting in this work and doing it's getting so competitive. And if you are not doing every single thing to get better, don't expect to climb whatever mountain or peak or try to get to wherever you want to get to without the work. And yeah, like I said, it's really just looking inward and saying, what are you not doing? And there's lots of different areas to improve, guys. It's fast, it's strength work, it's mobility, it's all this prehab stuff, it's rehab stuff, it's staying consistent, it's saying no to things that are getting you away from your goal or not aligned with your values. It is your mindset good? A lot of people train good. Oh, I'm training good, I recover good, I sleep good. What's your mindset like? Have you been like meditation, I feel like is a huge I wouldn't say like you need to meditate, but what is your mindset? How often are you thinking positive things and have that unwavering self-belief in yourself on a daily basis? Can you get better? Are you manifesting what you want? Picturing what you want? Are you trying to get better at containing yourself? Because what you think is how your body works. And if you're thinking positive thoughts and being okay and understanding, hey, I'm here. I need to get to here. What do I have to do to get there? It's all going to help you. These are all things that are going to help you. And if you want big goal, if you want to reach big goals, if you want to do big things, you got to put in big work. And so if you want to get paid in full, put in the work, find out what your value is, find out what you think your value is, set that, put it bigger than you think, and then put in the work to get there. And that's how you get paid in full. And so that's the motivational minute for today. What do we think about that one? I think that was a pretty good one. I think I stay within the realms a little bit there. Sometimes out of these I get out of hand, but yeah. And that is all we got today. That's all we got today. So the last couple weeks there hasn't been too many races or race efforts to report about in New England, the New England trail scene, but there's definitely stuff coming up. So again, like we're gonna start mixing that stuff in. We got more interviews on the way, so stay tuned for that. And I appreciate the support. Appreciate you guys listening. See you next time. Until then, we'll see you. Peace.